This FPS Bootcamp is going to be on a mindset you should have when you're trying to improve in any first-person shooter game, and that's going to be focusing on positioning. A lot of people don't think about this, and when they're trying to improve, they just think about improving their aim or improving their reaction time. But positioning is the single easiest thing to improve, I think. Like, it just requires knowledge. It's not really a mechanical skill. You just have to know the game and know the maps well. And it's going to give you, like, the easiest consistent fights. That's why your aim won't, and your reaction time won't matter as much, because you're preparing for the fights just based on your positioning. Some of you may just interpret this when I say focusing on your positioning as just camping, and that's not necessarily true. Camping is one way of controlling your positioning to where you always have a position of advantage. But if you're constantly shooting the enemies in the back, that's good positioning. You have a very low percentage chance to lose those fights, so you have good positioning because you're always behind the enemy team, and you're probably being safe while you're flanking them, and you're not putting yourself in much danger. So that's basically just what I mean, is literally how you position your character and how you position your character in fights, and how you set up fights for yourself. Positioning is something that a lot of people don't think of. They just sprint towards the action or sprint towards the nearest flag that they need to capture, and that's not good at all. You need to be thinking about your positioning at all times, how you're approaching the map, how you're approaching the fights. If you're mid-sprinting into every fight you get into, you have a very, very low percentage chance to win that fight. But if your gun is up, if you're pre-aimed, if you're pre-firing, if you're ready for the fight, your positioning is good, you have a very high chance to win that fight. Basically, positioning means, to me, that you're limiting your risk, you're increasing your chance, you're increasing your advantage in some way, be it that a flank, be it cover, be it knowing about the fight first, like being the first one pre-aimed and such. Just minimizing your risk is the biggest thing, I think, because a lot of people don't minimize the risk. They try to take the fastest ways to get to things, and sometimes the fastest way is what you need to take, maybe because there's limited time or your team needs help quickly. But a lot of times you don't. Taking the longer way around probably adds 1 or 2 seconds to the entire flank that you're trying to get off, and that doesn't really increase the entire time too much. For example, on Retaliation, on Infinite Warfare, you could run up the bridge side. The bridge is kind of a main long sightline that a lot of people are generally on. You could just run straight up it and try to flank the people that are in the hotel, by the bar area, let's say. So let's say you run up bridge and try to flank them. Or you could wall run on the wall run side, which is generally less watched, and there's going to be less people caring about it, and then you could flank around that way. It doesn't really add that much time to your flank, but it makes it much safer. You're limiting your angles that you're exposed to, and in general, it's just going to work more consistently. You're going to be able to get kills a lot easier, and you're probably going to be able to flank the people that are watching the bridge and flank the people in bar both at the same time by taking this wall run, instead of just trying to bum rush through bridge so that you can flank the people bar, and you're putting yourself at such a massive risk that the payoff isn't there if it doesn't work. And it's going to work out much less consistently than if you take the smarter, safer way around. Another good example of positioning is just the areas of the map that you play. If you have something like an SMG, you don't want to be fighting and taking place in areas where long-range fights are going to occur. You want to be in areas where you're going to be getting in close-range fights that suit your weapon. Likewise, if you're using an assault rifle, you often don't want to be fighting close-range fights. There are sometimes it can pay off in some rifles that are kind of hybrid, but in general, with an assault rifle, you want to play for mid to long-range fights. So that's why your positioning, you need to take into account what weapon you are and play to the strengths of that weapon, also while being safe, limiting your exposure, and giving yourself advantages in fights by using cover and knowing about it first. This minimizes the importance that aim takes. If every fight is a 50-50, your aim is very important. But if you're setting up each fight and stacking the odds in your favor with each fight, you're much more likely to win it, and your aim matters less and less as you stack the odds in your favor. Aim can be inconsistent. Sometimes it's just a muscle memory thing, and you can't really improve it just by trying to improve it. You can play more and get better aim that way, but you can't just think about the game more and then get better aim that way. But you can study the game, study good players, study how they position themselves, and then get good positioning based on that. Just reinforce good habits in yourself, and your positioning will improve, and then you'll improve because of it. Whereas aim, just really muscle memory. You just gotta grind away games to get better aim, in my opinion. When you die, instead of thinking about how your weapon wasn't the best weapon, you bitch about what variant they had, or you're complaining about your aim not being as good as them just having better aim, or their aim being insane, think about why your positioning caused you to die, how you could have positioned yourself better for that fight. That's going to help you improve much more than just complaining about aim and desiring better aim. Like I said, aim is just something you have to grind for to get, unless you have improper settings, your sensitivity is just horrible for you. But in general, your aim is just something that you want to it's a muscle memory thing. The more you play, the better your aim should get, in theory. There's probably a cap on it though, just your personal peak aim might be different than somebody else's peak aim, and that's fine. You could still do just as good as them if you have better or as good positioning. Your positioning just really relies on your knowledge of the game, knowledge of the map, and knowledge of what you're doing wrong personally. You can watch other players, like streamers for example, or just watch people's videos and actually pay attention not just to their gun and how they're fighting, but their positioning. If you take into account, like if you really focus on their positioning and how they're positioning themselves for fights, you might pick up on some of these things and you might be able to put that into your own gameplay, whereas just like watching somebody's gameplay and being like, oh, this guy has very good aim, I wish I could put that into my gameplay. You can't just take somebody's good aim and put it into your gameplay, but you can take like somebody's theory on positioning and put it into your own gameplay. A lot of people don't think about this, but it really is something that you want to consciously think about. It will become second nature if you reinforce good habits and you really like know the game well, but especially in a new game like when COD World War II comes out, you really just want to focus on your positioning if you want to improve quickly. Each death, you should learn something from it if possible, unless you just got like bullshitted by lag or something, but even then you could learn something, because maybe if you had better positioning you wouldn't have gotten bullshitted there. You would have had like higher odds to win it. That's basically it for this video. There's really not much to talk about. It's more of like a theory thing and how you think about the game. You really want to think about your positioning a lot more consciously than you probably do, especially when you're on new maps or a new game. Like I said, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, please comment them down below. Thank you.